name is Beth McDonald Stone, and I'm an avid knitter and knitwear designer coming to you from not Bermuda again, but New York City. I am spending our summer vacation here. We spend a month in the city pretty much every summer, and it's been a tradition since my son was very, very, very little, and it's really lots of fun. We love the city. We're in the village area, Greenwich Village, which is our favorite neighborhood, and having a blast. So this will be my second episode coming to you from New York City, and unfortunately the last one. We leave on Monday to go back home and get ready and get Oliver ready for university, my son, Oliver. And so he sets off for university in a couple weeks after that, and it's super exciting. So we need to get home, get organized, and get him ready for his next new adventure. But in the meantime, so I'm coming to you from New York City. I've been doing a lot of walking, exciting, exploring, and things like that. And also a lot of knitting. I love, love, love to walk until basic exhaustion, and then I come back here and knit. And as you see in the place, sorry, I keep on knocking the table. It's a bit shaky, so sorry about that. There's a great kitchen here. I've kind of cooked a bit here. Takeout's really good too. So, and restaurants are awesome as well. But you know, as knitters, I think we all can agree that having a nice quiet part of the day in that inside knitting and just reflecting on the day is ideal. And where I am recording, if you saw my last episode, you saw from the bedroom there's a beautiful view. Well, the living room also has a really beautiful view. So when I'm out and about most of the day exploring and then coming back and watching the view and watching the sunset on the buildings around, it's really magical. And yeah, so I'm still getting a lot of knitting done. Perfect. It's a perfect vacation in my mind. Yeah, so let's start. I'm wearing the same as last week. I only brought this one top, one summer tee. I tried to pack very light coming here because I live on an island. I'm going to be picking up things. And so we go back with heavier suitcases. It's just how it is. So this is the one tee that I did bring, one knitted piece, and this is the mango tea, sorry. Really great pattern. It's on, I think it's a great pattern. It's a really great base pattern too, and there's so much you can do with it. Adding stripes, I've done a version with stripes, and I've done a solid version, and this has been super. It has been so hot in New York City that the one day that I could wear it, when I was actually hanging out with knitters, I just didn't believe the temperature forecast, and I thought it was going to be really hot, and so I just, so I didn't. So I missed my opportunity. I'm not even sure what's happening out there today, so maybe I can wear it out today. It is lovely, but it is, longer sleeve. And when it's 90 plus, and it got up to 100 here, and I still am out, I'm still walking around with a little bit more strategic stops for air conditioning and a lot of liquids. That I just couldn't wear this. This was just too much fabric. But maybe today I can wear it. I know it's been cooling off, and I'm thrilled about that. So yeah, so you can see it's a boxy fit, balanced with fitted sleeves. There's instructions on how to get the proper width in the pattern, and my suggestion is, a positive ease with a certain amount of positive ease on the bust. But the more important thing, which I think I put in the pattern as well, especially on the project page notes that you see before you purchase the pattern, is also to take the measurement from basically the midpoint of your arm to the midpoint of your arm, and that's really it. Now, that is something that I've been thinking about, and I really did learn. The topic really first came to me in a class that I took with Johi Locatelli last spring on a knitting cruise with the grocery girls to Alaska. It was really fun, and I believe they've actually put up another they're doing another knitting cruise to Alaska. They're doing a lot of great trips. Do follow them. I'm sure you do. I'm not telling you anything new. Anyways, the Alaskan cruise was amazing, and Johi Locatelli was one of the instructors on it. And she talked about this sort of fit with regards to some of her other sweater patterns, and specifically a cardigan. It's a beautiful cardigan. I'd really like to knit it. I think called Monstera. I could be totally wrong. Anyways, doesn't really matter. But she talked about this fit, and it's really been on my mind ever since, and sort of watching people. I love walking, as I told you 3 bazillion times, and I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but a broken record, I guess. But in New York, I love watching people and what they're wearing and how it fits and how it looks and all that good stuff. And this really is a great, looking at people with this sort of boxy outfits. This really does reinforce this belief that boxy really should go pretty much halfway down your arm, and it creates that lovely sort of shape as it is, and a really functioning top. Good movement, great fit, kind of elegant, and with the balanced the narrower sleeves. That's just a second thought, and that is to sort of give an idea that you're not just wearing a paper bag, obscuring all your physical attributes or lines or whatever, and that the fitted sleeve balances that out. So yeah, I'm wearing it with a skirt, and I'll show you the skirt later because it actually comes into kind of context with what I'm doing also in New York, taking a class. But yeah, so I just think it's a great top, great fit, really easy to wear, really easy to style. I don't know, you can wear a necklace. I've worn scarves. I've worn it without anything up here. I just think it's lovely. So that's that. Oh, and I should probably say the yarn. The yarn is using Plymouth Yarn Nettle Grove. It's 100%, I shouldn't say that. I can't remember exactly. But it is a nettle yarn that has no protein. Sorry, I did it again. Okay, don't lean on this table, Beth. That has no sort of wool or any kind of animal yarn, which I cannot wear in the summer. I can totally wear it in the winter, or in cooler months, but not in the height of summer. And the nettle yarn is really great. The color is number 40, which is gray pearl, and it's sadly discontinued. As I've talked about in the past, I think there is a problem with the yarn because I had balls from two different dye lots, and one dye lot was really fraught, and one dye lot, which I used pretty much here, this was the one that was actually kind of fraught, and I put it purposely in the ribbing so that it wasn't really an issue. The color was quite different, but that happens to the new dye lots, but the texture of the yarn was really different and not pleasant to work with. So the pleasant to work with was I used for the body, and I really love that. But because basically in my experience I had 50% of kind of dead and 50% great, I'm wondering if that is the reason why it was discontinued. And anyways, really, it's a fingering weight sweater design. I've got a DK weight sweater version of this coming out at the end of the summer. So my concept here with so many of my sweaters is to use yarn that you find that you have in your stash or that you find out about that you love, and it'll totally work. But basically this is fingering weight. And then, like I said, the DK1 weight version will come out at the end of the summer, and probably in my next podcast, I'm guessing with timing. So with that being said, we're going to be talking about mango tea again next time, but the mango sweater. So I hope that's okay. Anyways, let's talk. I've got some finished objects and I'm really excited. So actually, let's go right into this one, which is called Ride the Wave. Thank you to my friend Allison who came up with the name. This is great. And I should be wearing this today, but I haven't been able to block it. I'm not at home, as you know. And while this apartment is amazing, I have blocked things in sort of on vacation before, and I've never really liked how it worked out just because it's just not got my blocking tools that I really like. And whatever. So I'd just rather wait till I get home on Monday and I'll block it next week. But this is just a similar version to how the mango tee is constructed, but this time with longer sleeves. And they're very fitted longer sleeves. So again, creating the balance to a very boxy sweater that has an old shale pattern on it. Not textured. I played around with also, so you can see there's no sort of pearl bumps here, which is an option, a traditional option for old shale. I felt there was enough going on that it didn't need more texture, but I really like it. I think it's really cool. The yarn I'm using was yarn that I bought last fall at, oh, and I shouldn't do this again. I did it last time, and I can never remember the name of the event, but it's the event that Catherine from Brooklyn General organizes on the Friday before Rhinebeck. And I'm going again. Sorry. I can't remember, but at that event, which was really fun, and it's the Wandering Flock singles, so it's a non-twisted yarn, which I'll have to be careful with wear, but I think it'll be fine. The theory is that it's better to have a bit of a twist on sweaters. This is a great, in theory, yarn for shawls. I have knit a sweater in it before. and I really like it. And so I'm not really that worried, but I do know that people are conscious of knitting in singles. I think it's doable. I won't be wearing the sweater every day. It might have a little bit of pilling. That's manageable. But if you are worried about that, just get a fingering yarn with a twist. Anyways, this is the Wandering Flock singles. They have yarn with a twist in the colors Alexandrite and Neon Lilac. And I just thought they were really pretty. So that's that. Um, when I get back home, I have the pattern all written up, ready to go. I just have to figure out the yardages for the different sizes. That's no big deal. And then I'll send it to my tech editor. So this will probably come out late September, I'm guessing. I'm not really sure, but around that late September, early October. And I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be, actually, it's funny. I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to have the opportunity to wear it because I like summer. I'm a little over summer, and I know when I go back to Bermuda, August and September are brutal in Bermuda. Like, well, not brutal. I think they're brutal. I find it really, really hot and really, really humid. And yeah, and I think by then you're kind of done with the heat, especially after having so many really hot days. You just, by then your patience is worn off. So I really, long and short, excited to be able to wear that. And I'm excited to wear it with my favorite skirts. And yeah. I have a bag. I've got a really cool purse from Claire B from a long time ago that I really like, and it's sort of in the same hot, like that cool neon lilac. And I don't know, I just can't wait to wear it, and I think that'll be fun. So yeah. Anyways, what you sort of think about, isn't it true when you're knitting something like, oh, that will look great with this, and I'll wear it with this, and I'm hoping to wear it to Rhinebeck because I think it'll be one of a few sweaters that I'll wear, and I think it'll be kind of cool. And I think the right probably temperature, unless it's at 80, which Rhinebeck in the past has been 80 degrees, and that's kind of bonkers. So maybe I should bring this too, the mango tea, for such a day. Right, so that's my first finished object. Really excited about that. And the second finished object is, I love this one too. This was really fun, not funny. Well, I don't know, could be funny, but this is called the Brightside Shawl, and I cast this on when we first arrived because I was waiting for this Spincycle yarn, which was here at the waiting for me. And I brought another Spincycle yarn, the purple, because I had that. That's called, I'm just going to guess, but I don't think I need to guess. Purse first is the purple, and I love that as a dark neutral because I like to wear a lot of black, so I kind of feel like dark purples work as a tie into black. And then I really wanted to complement it with a light and bright Spincycle yarn for just excitement and energy in the shawl, visual energy, and that is called Love Spell. I have literally nothing left. I've used 2 and 2 of each. I've got little teeny scraps, and so I might be able to do 2 tassels, maybe 3 tassels. Do I do tassels? I'm not sure if I will, although I do kind of feel like even just 1 tassel, the one on the front, just to pull this down, because there wasn't increases here in this section, and I kind of think that it might be necessary, as you can see. I'm not sure. So they're putting it on, but if I had maybe a little bit of a weight here, that actually might help that section. The pattern is designed with tassels, so I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the design. The design is great. I just don't usually, I would rather put the yarn into the shawl than into a fringe or whatever. I don't always feel I need a fringe, but I think maybe 1 tassel here would be great. But I'll do that when I get home after I've blocked this. I prefer to put those sort of tassels, or the design also has an option to put fringe all the way along the bottom, which would be really cool too. But I don't think I'm that kind of girl. But anyways, so I'd like to block this first and then put a tassel on. And I think as I'm talking to you, I've decided that right there would be the best. But I love it. Great colors, really pretty. And the designer for this shawl is, it's from the Forest City Knits, and I want to say the Forest City Knit Girls, and they have a great podcast. Totally watch them, but it's Patty of that group that designed this shawl, and I think it's really super and a really, really, really fun knit. So I can't recommend it enough. You basically start from one tip one tip to another. I'm just going to say this is the first, I don't know, to then another. You've got the middle part and you keep going. At the bottom, you have some eyelets, which are really pretty, which are hard to see, but there, if I hold it really open, you can kind of see some of the eyelets right in here. And then really easy, the way she set it up with the going side to side, you pick up for this little bit of color shock at the bottom um, and just knit that back and forth. So it's perpendicular to the original. And I think that's really great because what really excited me about this shawl was how the Spincycle yarn or color changing yarns kind of graduated here. I thought that was really fun and exciting, and that's what I was really hoping to replicate, which I believe I did. And so I'm really thrilled with that shawl. I'll leave it on for a minute. I think it's great. So thank you so much, Patty. It's a super design. Now my phone just timed out. Let's get it open again because it's got all my notes on here, which I totally need because, as you know, I can't remember names of designs or colors or anything like that. I've got a bad memory for that. But these notes that I've got that I'm reading from here will be under in the description. So you've got all the notes there with colorways and stuff. So that information is all there for you too. So those are the two finished objects that I've got today. And let's go on to what I'm working on. And I've got 3 whips. I'm going to move this over here. Yeah, just because I've got everything laid out. So really quickly, I've been working on the rib vault socks. I've finished one. I really like it. This is a design from Stephen West. There's more of a design that goes on in it where this is sort of repeated twice and then through the top of the foot. I wear sneakers a lot, so I didn't really want a longer leg for this because I thought it would look really cute with just a pair of sneakers I have that are my favorite for walking in the city and traveling. And I didn't want the pattern on the top of the foot because it's heavily textured. I don't know if you can see. It's a beautiful sort of smocking stitch that's quite heavily textured, and I knew I would feel that on the top of my foot, and that would bother me. I just don't want any skin irritation because I just want to walk. So these are great. So I just did my usual 64 rows down and then my usual toe. Very simple heel flap and gusset, but the magic happens in the leg. I've cast on the second one and I'm just about to start the first sort of smocking stitch here. I've got the setup for it, so I just need to do those horizontal wraps, I believe. I can't even remember how it happened or how it works, so like a fish in a fishbowl. It's not been that long since I did that, but it's totally drawing a blank. But anyways, I'm actually thinking that I'll reserve that and save the leg for the airplane ride because I just think that'd be fun. It would give me something to focus on. It's a 2-hour plane ride home, really simple. 2-hour really early in the morning. We leave here very, very, very early. The flight leaves at like 8 o'clock. And so it means I've got to be at the airport at an absurd time and leave the apartment here. Anyways, a problem for another day, and I'll just have to be really, really organized the day before. But the great thing is I will get home. I haven't told you. I will get home early because it's such a short flight, and I'll have the full day at home, which will be so nice. Anyways, so the rib vault socks, and I didn't talk about the yarn. It's really pretty. It's from Cake Yarns when I bought at Cake Palooza last year in the Whisk base. It didn't have a colorway name on it, and I just thought it was so pretty. So I love it. That is that. Oh, and it's in a... I don't usually get really excited about project bags, but this is an old favorite. I used to have a Shiba Inu, and she looked like a red fox. And so I bought this one, and I thought it was really cute. And it's from the Little Gray Girl. I don't know if she's still making them. This is honestly probably 10 years old, but a great little sock bag. So that's the rib vault socks. And then the other shawl that I'm working on, because I really enjoyed this so much, and Andrea Mowry just came out with the Nightlight shawl, which is playing with color changing yarn. She's using Spincycle again, and I've been enjoying going around to the knitting shops here. I have picked up some Spincycle, but I actually found another yarn that I was really excited about. And I'm using that. So I'll talk about that in a second, but here's a little peek at the Night Lights shawl. It's just a really simple slip stitch pattern using a main color or color 1 and color 2 or color A and color B. So the color A for me is the dark purple and the color B is the color changing yarn. And this is what they look like because I don't have my ball winder here, but the back of chairs are fantastic and I have no problem. But for this, I am using these two yarns. I went to Nitty City and I'm going to talk at the next section about the different yarn shops here in the city. And Nitty City is one of them. It's on the Upper West Side. And I fell in love with this. I think this is spectacular. And this is Cascade 220 Superwash Wave. What a great alternative to, just another option. And I've come across so many other options. Totally different price points. This was really affordable, $13 a skein. And I just think the colors are amazing. So I'll show you again the shawl. But I just think it's really been fun. And I'm going to soon transition to sort of some pinks. And then I think it goes back to the yellows and greens. But really enjoying this. And I can't say enough about the Cascade 220 Superwash Wave. The colorway here is 120. I don't know what that is. But yeah, so that's great. And I'm using with it, I had so much fun at Nitty City because it is such a dream to be able to be in a knitting store and picking your colors together. Bermuda doesn't really have much in the way of knitting stores. There's sort of some yarn sold and a music store. And there's a knitting store in the other end of the island that is not really my style of yarns and is rarely open, so I don't really like to make the jaunt. Anyways, it's there. Anyways, I'm sure it's great for what people use, for what's needed, but it's not really for me. Anyways, I should be careful, but basically on Bermuda, there's not much in the way of yarn. Anyways, so this one is Plymouth Yarns. Again, similar Plymouth Yarns I used for here. Rome, color Violet Heather. And another really great budget yarn that I think is gorgeous, and I would love to knit sweaters in it. And this is $10 a skein. So that was really fun. So this is what I'm using for Andrea Mowry's new shawl pattern called Night Lights, and I am just having so much fun. So it's really fun to work with because also it's a larger needle. I'm using, let's see if I can read it. I am using a US 6 4 millimeter needle, and really enjoying that because it's sort of loose and fun. Because the other piece that I'm working on is a much smaller gauge, and with sort of a cotton linen yarn, which I actually do find hurts my hands. There's absolutely no give. It was a yarn in my stash and I wanted to sort of use it up, and so I'm knitting this the Stromboli by Caitlin Hunter. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that pattern, but it's lovely, beautiful cabled top t-shirt again, and I really find cables and lace really fun. I shouldn't say cables, it's like a faux cable for the little if you can see it, there's sort of little horseshoe or rings that are faux cables, so it's a lace top, not cable. Anyways, Stromboli from Caitlin Hunter, really fun. This is my gauge swatch. Now let's see if I bring it. It's hard to see because, of course, I'm doing black yarn, but you can see some of the little rings and some of the V's. It may not be the best color for this design because a lot of the details won't show, which is a shame. I almost ripped it out, but I just wanted to press on because I do think actually in person it will be, it's hard to see, like on the side, you can see it. In person, I think it could be quite stunning. And I'd like to use up this yarn, and I have it with me. And I don't have, other than my new purchases, which I haven't really set on a pattern, I haven't got anything else. So I'm going to persevere and work on that. So here's what I've got so far. And again, hard to show. Oh, maybe it's showing up a bit more. Anyways, it's quite bunched up on the needles. Um, yeah, it's not going to look great on camera. Um, but I think it's great. It is a fingering weight. It's a 22 stitch gauge, so it's actually not that small, but I'm finding it really tight and, well, not tight. I'm finding it hard on my hands, and so it's nice to have that night lights to complement. So when I get tired or whatever. So for this, I am using Knit Picks Lindy chain in the color black. Yeah. And I just had exactly what was needed for this pattern and this yarn. I've had this yarn in my stash for years and years and years. I'm just so glad to use it up. And I think it will actually be a really wearable top. And so hold on one second. Sorry about that. My son that's his room right there. And I knew when I heard the handle move, I knew he'd be groggy and out of it after waking up. So he's off having a shower. So if you hear the shower, that's that. Anyways, Knit Picks. Great Lindy chain. I think it's going to be really wearable. When I blocked the swatch, it did get kind of crunchier. So I actually am tempted when I get home to put it in the washer in the dryer, and see if that softens it up. But I do think ultimately this will be a fabulous top to have to wear. And probably lighter and cooler than this one here because of the yarn. And yeah, I'd highly recommend Knit Picks Lindy chain. I think it's a really good functional summer yarn, but do be sure to have other projects that you can turn to when you have hand fatigue. I think that's what I'm saying. So yes, those are the three that I'm working on and really enjoying it. So yeah, fun. Okay, I'm going to take a break here and insert, no, I'm not. I'm going to hold that off. Oh, I keep knocking the table. I'm going to hold off and continue on. And then at the end, I'm going to show you a little sort of clip that I've put together of what I've been up to. So let's talk about what have I been up to. I'm going to take this off because I'm actually the temperature in my body, as you can see. There we go. It was getting a bit warm. I've turned off the air conditioning too because it's, I don't want the noise to bother you. Anyway, so let's stay with cool thoughts. So what have I been up to? I forgot to mention in the last episode that thank you so much for all the wonderful name suggestions for the, oh, yeah, so thank you so much for all your amazing suggestions on names for another design that is a collaboration with Botanical Yarns. And the design is really great. I'm really excited about it. And it too is coming out at that event that I can't remember the name. Still can't remember the name. Anyways, it's coming out at that, well, it'll come out probably the day before, whatever, the event. But the idea is that it'll be launched for the Friday before Rhinebeck. And I'm really excited about it. And with Botanical Yarn, I'll put a picture here because, of course, I don't have the sweater with me. But with Botanical Yarn, I was drawn to them for their colors and the textures of their yarns, and really pretty. And Sophie, the owner of the yarn dyeing company, is really fun and really enigmatic. I really enjoy her podcast. So if you don't know of her podcast, please check it out, Botanical Yarns. And so, yeah, so the name that I've set on, because I really wanted to have the name reference her company and her yarns. So I've decided, and thank you to Jet V1471 for the suggestion, but Botanical Comfort. And that's really what I think fits the sweater so well. It's an oversized boxy sweater with full sleeves this time and a V-neck, solid with a bit of color work around the midsection here. And the color work is, in my mind, like it's cross between a Scandinavian and a modern sort of geometric inspiration of a botanical shape. So, and using what I think of as Sophie's key colors. So yeah, so I feel like it's a sort of a really good homage to her yarn company and her colorways and her sort of aesthetic. And I think the name Botanical Comfort really suits. So again, thank you to Jet V1471 on YouTube for that suggestion. I really appreciate it. It's really perfect. And so that pattern, stay tuned. It's in testing now, but it will be coming out a day or two before the Friday before Rhinebeck. I wish I could remember that name. I'm so sorry, but I'm sure I've put it down the bottom. So that's great. And I've been able to do the cover page for that, and I'm really excited about that design. So that's great. While I've been here, I've been taking a sewing class up in the Garment District. It's Sewing 101 at the New York Sewing Center. Really cool. Learning lots. I love wearing skirts, and the great thing for Sewing 101, you pick a bottom to sew, and so I picked skirts. A lot of my colleague or classmates picked pants or pajama bottoms or shorts. I picked a skirt. I've made my first one, which is right here, and I'm really pleased with it. It is the first time I've sewn a skirt, so it's not perfect, but it's great. I used a linen fabric that I found at Mood Fabrics, which is a really wonderful place in the Garment District, and I did sort of a straight, rather fitted skirt in the hips. I don't like tight waists, so it's not a tight waist, and it just sits perfectly that way. The design did have trimming, and I'll just pause it one more time. My son coming back out of the loo, getting dressed. Anyways, so the pattern did have a trimming on it. I picked this. I think it's kind of cool. Will I wear it? Not sure. Like with finding the perfect sweater fit for you, I think, obviously sewing is very similar. And so like a recommendation in knitting is to find something that you really like and go off the measurements. So the same design or the same sort of basic pattern for that is very, very, very similar to my favorite skirts. And here, let me just see if I can get up. Is just a really simple gathered waist. These have sort of pockets on the outside, patch pockets, I think they're called. I like to tuck in my tops, that it's a really simple skirt. But what I find is that I don't want it too voluminous in the hips and stuff, because I think that just makes me look wider than I need. So it's finding the perfect sort of width, that I don't want to put my elbows on the counter. Finding the perfect width that is flattering and functional and ideal, and also enough width that gives movement and stuff throughout the rest of the skirt by the legs. So taking a note from knitting, I have the pattern and brought it back to the apartment here to cut out another skirt, because I have one more class, and so I'm allowed to sew one more if I'm, or just to use that time however I will. And having a teacher there is fantastic. So of course I'm taking advantage of that. So I took this skirt. It's one of my favorite cuts. I've got sort of 2 or 3 that are pretty much this exact cut, and it's really what I gravitate to. So that is very similar to the pattern, but I just went up a few sizes, found the size that really is the proportion for this, cut it out, and I am going to sew that with, move this out of the way, this fabric that I found at Brooklyn General. Brooklyn General has some really cool fabrics, and I found this, so it's sort of like cool paint splattered fabric. So I've measured, cut it out. It's all ready by the door to go with all my sort of notes and stuff like that. So I've got my last class tomorrow, where I hope to sew this. I will not be putting on the trim on this one. I don't think it needs it. I think the fabric's busy enough for that. Sorry, I'm looking around and away. The fabric's busy enough for that, so it's totally not necessary. So I'm just going to leave it a really plain skirt. I have this time cut out pockets. They're not going to be patch pockets. They're going to be inserted pockets, or inseam pockets, I think is what I'm learning. And so that'll be great. And then I also have one more in a different colorway, this really cool fabric in a green that I'd like to make when I get home. And this one I'd like to do patch pockets. And I think from all this, I will be learning lots. And now I'm taking great interest following other knitting podcasts, that people that like to sew, and learning what they're doing and what online patterns they're using and stuff like that. So that's actually where I have heard for years about Merchant and Mills, and I downloaded a basic skirt pattern, I think called the Matilda, And from that one, I've got an inseam pocket, which I printed off at FedEx down the street and cut out for this new one that I'm going to do tomorrow. And in it also is a patch pocket, so I'll use that. And here's Oliver again. And now he's off to get breakfast. It's so great being here. He loves to get a fresh bagel down the street every morning, so that's really cool. Anyway, so the sewing class is really great. If you're interested in sewing and you live in the sort of New York area, they have them in Manhattan in the Garment District, which is where I'm taking my class. They've also got a place in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, and I believe they're setting up one in Montclair, New Jersey in the new year. So there's a lot, and I'm sure there's sewing classes wherever you live too. I just don't know of any in Bermudas, and it's super fun to be in New York, go to the Garment District, pick your fabrics that you want to work with it, here in the city, and learn all sorts of techniques. I'll definitely be going back to them hopefully next summer to take different classes. They've got lots of options, and I'm really excited. So that's really good. I've also been going around to a lot of the yarn shops around here, and I thought I would just describe some of the New York City yarn shops to you because I'm sure people are interested. And I can also show you what some of my acquisitions are at each one. So yarn shops in Manhattan, there's 4 that I know of. There might be more, but 4 that I know of. The first one that I'll talk about is Downtown Yarns, and that's in the East Village, right, sort of bordering on Alphabet City. Great little store, teeny little store, really charming. Yeah, really charming. They're really specialized in, they've got a really good selection of Noro yarns and some fun hedgehog fibers, very hand selected colorways, which I find really cool. Always when I go there, I find yarns that I've not known about, and I'm really excited to learn about. So I think years ago I found a sea cell yarn. I can't remember what I knit with it, but it was really cool, and I picked it up there. Last summer I found the Great Adirondack cotton fabric or yarn, sorry, there, which I designed the first version, which was a DK weight version of the Get Out of the Pool tee. So I find that's a really good place to find maybe off the beaten path slightly, or maybe not, or just not, or new to me yarns. So that's great. So that's Downtown Yarns in the East Village. The other yarn store in sort of the lower bit of Manhattan is West Village Knit and Needle. So that's in the West Village. It's a nice, lovely neighborhood, one of my favorites. It's again a really tiny place. I understand in the winter they might have more yarns. In the summer they really do focus on needlepoint. It is really, really, really small. So there's really not a lot of selection, but it's a great sort of local if you need something quickly. I understand that their main focus really is the needlepoint, and I also understand that that's a great place if you are a needlepointer to do the finish work, so just blocking your needlepoint or blocking and framing it so that you get it sort of back to square and making them into pillows and things like that. So that's a great resource, maybe more for needlepoint. It has some good yarns in it, like Blue Sky Fibers, and I can't remember what other they have there, but I think it's more of a destination for needlepoint. But I'll have to go back in the winter sometime because they did say that they seasonally sort of put more of an emphasis on knitting. So in the winter it might be quite different. Another one on the Upper East Side is Annie and Company, Needlepoint and Knitting. So again, another store that conjoins needlepoint and knitting. This is a much bigger store. It's actually really quite good, quite a good size. The needlepoint side looks really fantastic. I don't needlepoint anymore. I used to. Maybe I will in the future. It's just not a thing for me right now. The knitting side is sort of like split down the middle. Needlepoint on the left when you walk in and knitting on the right. The knitting on the right, I always do really well there. I find lots of great stuff. They are super, and what would I say? They have it's all beautifully organized by weight. So when you enter on the right, it's sort of fingering, sock, DK, worsted, Aran, bulky. They too have some really great, they've got like Murky Depths, local dyer, or semi-local dyer. They have in the past had some really good hedgehog. They've got some really good sock yarn sets for like hand-dyed sock yarns that come in the two little teeny skeins that you can make them sort of similar. I think they're self-striping. I don't know if the hand dyer was there. I didn't recognize that, but they looked really cool. Yeah, they have a lot of other things. And again, I do find interesting things there as well. And so I like to go there. I bought from them um, three of these. And again, I'm really into my gradation, and I have a design concept for this, which you'll see in the future. But this is, oh shoot, the tag is right over Ella Ray. I can read through. So sorry that the barcode and everything is right over the name. But this is Ella Ray Marmel, which is an Old English word for marble, and it's color peridot. But I just thought it was really spectacular. So that's a good picture. Yeah, I think that's really lovely. And again, this would be very similar to Spincycle dyed in the wool, which would be a sport weight. And this was $19 a skein. This has also got a cotton. It's 58% cotton, 42% acrylic. And I'm planning on knitting sort of, I'm going to knit this with another sort of maroon color yarn that Karen from Do You Knit gave me when she came to Bermuda. Right before I came to New York, Karen from Do You Knit was in Bermuda and we got together and had lunch. So I have some of her beautiful burgundy yarn that is a Do You Knit own brand or own base, and I was thinking of using these two together. I'm not going to describe any more because I would rather just get on the needles first to make sure the theory works. But yeah, so that's what that is. And look at, I mean, there's like silvers and warm tones. And as I age, I've always been sort of more into the warm tones because of my hair was sort of blondie brown, but now it's silver. This is so great. So it has some of the cool tones too. So I think this is really perfect for me. Anyway, so that's great. Ella Ray Marmel Peridot. Great yarn, I think. Haven't used it yet, but that's really great. So that's from Annie and Company, Needlepoint and Knitting, Upper East Side. Really great place. The other nice thing is there's a subway literally a block away that brings me right down here. So that's also really cool and convenient. Nitty City is the fourth one on the Upper West Side. That's wonderful. It's been around for quite a while. I think most of these have actually been, except for the West Side, except for the West Village. The other three have been around for quite a while and have a really sort of strong community. But especially Nitty City, the owner was Pearl, and she was really lovely lady who unfortunately passed away, but definitely had created a really amazing community with around the shop and stuff. It's now run by her son, and he's absolutely lovely. So Nitty City on the Upper West Side is really super. I do always like to go there. They've got an excellent needle collection. So I like Chow Goose, they've got an extensive Chow Goo collection. So if you ever need another cable or another needle, that's definitely the place to go. I also like it. They're very organized in weight again. So that I find organization is really helpful. And they also cover a huge range of prices too, and I appreciate that. So it was at Nitty City that I purchased these two yarns, and I just had such a fun time putting those together in the space, and that's great. Nitty City is a super one. I really like all of them, I have to admit, but they all sort of do different things. So Nitty City has some great the Cascades, and they have some beautiful yarns from other really lovely collections. So they have some Istex yarn, they've got Cascade, they've got, gosh, it's so funny. I can see the brands in my mind's eye, but I can't read the tags. But anyways, really super. So Nitty City is great too. And again, like all the other ones, have a good variety and price points. The other yarn shops, there's 4 in Brooklyn. Brooklyn General is my all-time favorite, and it's funny, my husband really likes going there too. So actually, he's got a t-shirt and he wears all the time, the Brooklyn General t-shirt. It's just it's a really good size yarn store, really well curated. It has a lot of the brands that, are probably sort of the hot knitting brands right now. So when you walk in, you've got Spincycle and La Bien-Aimée, and on the right, you've got um, Jameson and Smith, I believe, or Jameson's. I get those two confused. So sorry. So then walking through, you've got a lot of La Bien-Aimée, you've got a lot of Drerum Natura, you've got some other really interesting small farm companies in the area. So some more rustic yarns. You've also got fabrics, so that's where I bought the fabrics from them, and I think they have a lot of really good classes there too, and sewing classes too. Yeah, it's a really great spot in Brooklyn, and it's in an area that's really charming to walk around. So I would totally recommend getting the train to anywhere sort of above that area, which would be um, like Borough Hall or whatever, and just walking down. And on your way, oh, and so at Brooklyn General, I've purchased this. I bought 3 of these Dream State just to fill my. I'm trying to replenish my Spincycle collection, and I find with Spincycle you have to buy it when you see it and not online, just because the colors are so different. So I bought that and the fabric. Um, on the way down, if you were to get off at the Borough Hall or J Street or any of those sort of, there's a cluster of train stations in Brooklyn, sort of in the sort of downtown core of Brooklyn. And if you're walking down, my favorite street is Henry Street, beautiful brownstones. That's where I really photograph a lot of the brownstones from Brooklyn. Put them on Instagram if you're interested. So if you walk down Henry Street, you'll hit Atlantic Avenue before you get to Brooklyn General. And on Atlantic Avenue is a great store called Woolen. Now this year, and I think last year, they do take a summer vacation. So I don't think I've been in it for a couple of years, and I can't really remember what was in it, but it's a nice size store. The lady's very welcoming who owns it. They're in white cubbies, beautiful colored yarns. I have seen lovely local, again, hand dyers and fabricators of yarn in there. I have purchased from there in the past, but I honestly can't remember what it was. So I'm sorry, that's a bit vague, but Woolen is closed until after I leave this summer. And I think it was the same last summer because I think it's owned and run by one person. So yeah, summer vacation, we all need it, right? So, but Woolen I think is great, and it's wonderful because you can sort of do Woolen and Brooklyn General very easily together. The third one in Brooklyn is Argyle, and that's by Prospect Park on the south slope. So that's sort of a ways away from the other two. Brooklyn is a really spread out borough. So that's by Prospect Park, and it's a great yarn store, another nice sized one. They have their own yarn, really lovely, that they hand dye. I can't remember what it's called, but it's their in-house yarn. Great colors. They also do a lot of hedgehog fibers. And so I picked up these two just to fill up my sock or shawl knitting stash. I just know I was really low in these kind of brights that I'm really drawn to right now. And there also is another really amazing alpaca yarn that I really truly love to knit with. I can't remember the name, and some other really lovely things. But it's I think Argyle in my mind would have a lot of sort of the hand dyed yarn. That's what I sort of see it as. Really great. And if you're in the area, Prospect Park is a beautiful park to walk around. And then the fourth one in Brooklyn, I actually only learned about this summer, and I've never been, but I'm planning to go this afternoon. So you'll have to stay tuned to the next podcast for my thoughts and reviews and what am I seeing there. That's called Cleo's Yarn Shop, and that's in Williamsburg. So I'm just going to take the L train right from Union Square, and I think it's going to take me like 25 minutes to get there, and it's really close to the subway station. And I'll get back to you on that, but I'm excited to see a new yarn store. So that's really cool. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is the knitting community and how wonderful it is. I think the knitting community is fantastic. I've met so many people. And when I've historically come to New York City, I have a few friends in the city and a few friends outside the city that I try to catch up with, whatever. But the more and more I've gotten involved with and the more friends I've made in the knitting community, the busier I've gotten, and it's really fun. And I consider these really good close friends now. So I'm going to talk about a few of the friends that I saw, in hopes that you'll also find them out on the internet too, because most of them have amazing podcasts and really dynamic knitters. And yeah, so I've been really, really, really busy with knitting friends. So the first friend that I saw from the knitting community on this trip was Billy. And Billy has an amazing podcast if you're into vintage knitwear designs. That's called Show and Tell Knitting. And again, I'm putting that down below. We had a lovely day at the Metropolitan Museum. In the spring, the Metropolitan Costume Institute puts out a show on fashion, and the topic this year was, it's on my brain, it's right there, and I didn't write it down. Dandyism. Superfine. That's what it's called. It was called Superfine. Gosh, that took a round trip. But sort of the so superfine fashion. So sort of gentleman's fashion and the history of sort of the modern dandy, especially in the Black community. And I think basically it was an homage to Andre Leon Talley, who died in I think 2022 or 2023, who was a wonderful contributor to the fashion world, with a lot of work with Vogue and stuff like that. And I think this is an homage to him. That's my thoughts on it. It was wonderful, really wonderful. And we had such a great time. And then we had lunch in the dining room at the Met, one of my favorite places to eat because it's just so chill. And the Metropolitan Museum is one of my favorite buildings in the city. It's just so peaceful and beautiful, and there's so much to see. And I just love to go and wander through. So wandering through a wonderful exhibit with Billy was great. We always have so much to talk about, and we have a great time and having lunch with her. And then we split off, and I went to see a show that she'd already been to, which was too crowded, and I really couldn't see it. So the great thing is we went first thing in the morning, and we were like the first ones into the exhibit. I'm going to pause it again. Oliver's back and is having his breakfast just in front of me. So if you can hear or smell a beautiful bagel, that's what's happening. Anyways, so yeah, so saw Billy. That was really good fun. Another day, I saw a bunch of other knitters, and we went to Brooklyn General and Argyle, and that was really fun. And in that group was Lorian from Knitting Monologues, and I would highly recommend her podcast. Really good. And again, the links to all the podcasts that I'm suggesting are down below. She's really fun, an avid knitter, really a bit more technically involved too. So that's really what I like in a podcast. And her other friends, which were great to see, Debbie, Michelle, and Angel. So amazing people, and I can't wait to see them again at Rhinebeck. I had the lucky opportunity to see Lorraine again with Shannon from Whiskey and Wool, and we went to the cloisters, and that was really fantastic. I haven't been up there for a few years, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful museum up on the really northern western corner of Manhattan. It's just gorgeous. It's hard to explain. Basically, a building that is a collection of old chapels from Europe, from the Middle Ages, that were sort of picked up and moved. They were in ruins in Europe, and in the early 20th century brought to New York City and made into sort of this amazing museum. So the cloisters was great, and I hanging out again with Lorian and Shannon. Lorian was so sweet and made this little chicken for me, and one for Shannon too. Adorable. It's a crocheted chicken, and I just think it's gorgeous. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Lorian. That was really great. And again, Shannon's podcasts are fantastic. She's also a spinner, and she's really technical too. She talks about things like that, talks about color choices. I'm really interested in color and color pairing. Like, I just think how color works together is fantastic and exciting. And if that interests you, do be sure to check out Shannon's podcast as well. You will really enjoy that. I learn a lot from that. I really like it. And the other ladies that I saw were Debbie and Susie Korb. Debbie is an avid knitter, and you might have met her through Christy Glass's old channel and Jackie Rose's channel. She's a good friend of theirs, and her sister Susie too. And Susie is the proprietress of an amazing online shop called Pittsburgh Mercantile. Again, linked below. And I would definitely, if you don't already know about the Pittsburgh Mercantile, check it out. I love it. It's a go-to place or shop for me for Christmas gifts, especially. I've got a few friends that it's just so perfect. It's artistic, creative, unique pieces that a little bit quirky, totally fun, really neat store. So I was really had a fabulous afternoon chatting with them and really great. So really appreciate the knitting community and all the people I am continuing to meet and all the people that I have met, and um, creating such a wonderful group of friends all over the world. And I couldn't be more grateful. So that's just great. So I will leave you now with a clip of I love museums. I love museums. I love walking on the streets of New York. It's frantic, it's chaotic, it's really fun. Then you go into the museums and you see sort of creativity and have a peaceful environment, and see the world through other people's eyes, and I just love it. So I've put a little collage together of my highlights of this trip, and I hope you enjoy that too. So with that, I'll leave you, and I'll be back to you from Bermuda in 2 weeks, and I'm pretty sure that's when we'll have the mango sweater. The DK weight of that will be published then too. So happy knitting, happy crafting, and see you in 2 weeks. Okay, bye.